being streamed live on YouTube, or what's the deal?
No live streaming anymore on YouTube, but what we do is we will premiere it so it'll have a live chat room.
Yeah, okay, that's great because you know what? Like I said, wow, it was so very bad. I mean, I'm speaking and then I'm waiting like 9 seconds for you to respond. I'm like, and then I try to respond back, and then we're talking over each other. So it seems like it's all corrected. But I highly recommend StreamYard. It is fantastic. That's what I use every time now. It's a million times better than Google Hangout.
Yeah, and also we've been told Liber is quite a good place to go to put your videos, by the way, just telling you.
Yeah, there's many sites now. There's so many sites opening up.
Oh yeah, you like one, don't you? Five, what's it? Room 5?
No, it's 153news.net.
That's it. Yeah. You promote that one, don't you?
Absolutely, yeah. It's my good friend Jason Boss. He lives in Panama, former Google employee. He's the one that set it all up.
Yeah. Anyway, just to let everybody know, I've added myself. I'm on my phone, and we now don't have the time delay, which is brilliant. So, Rushovitz, I was just asking you, what have you been up to then? Just millions of hangouts, lots of information going out?
Yeah, there's been a lot going on, of course. I made a tremendous amount of videos covering the bug and also, the Kobe Bryant incident and the GF. I've got to be careful how I word this. I'm going to be very careful, so I'm quoting what I'm saying. But I've made a lot of videos covering these topics, and of course, getting shut down so many times for covering hot topics. Putting the truth out there. And here's the thing: is whenever you're covering these things, they don't care if you. It's like this. It's like the bug. They don't care if you believe it's real or you believe it's real, but it's manufactured. As long as you don't call it a hoax, you're perfectly fine doing that. And when you call it a hoax, you say it's just a psychological operation. It doesn't exist. It's a government psyop. Not just government. It's a worldwide psyop. Then you're going to run into issues. And I'd really definitely want to talk about the bug if we can, and the inconsistency.
Okay, yeah, we call it the bug. I like that.
Yeah, just call it the bug or the CV or whatever it may be. But one thing I want to really emphasize is the inconsistencies about so many things about it. Number one, here in the U.S., people are losing their minds over this nonsense, and the real issue is that I see is supposedly it started in China, and there's nearly 100 million people in Vietnam, and there's zero passings from it. Zero. Same with Laos on the border with China. Cambodia, not on the border, but nearby, zero. Mongolia, directly on the border, of course, with China, zero passings from this. So how does it leapfrog and completely miss? And all these countries right on the border, in the neighborhood, and specifically, with Vietnam, with a good amount of their border with China, and Hanoi was about 10 million people, and again zero. But in the U.S. you have these isolated states like Montana, Wyoming, where people are supposedly passing from this. And all they're doing is, of course, anybody passes from this. Anybody passes from this supposed outbreak, they're going to label it the bug when it's not. It's just someone's dying from other means, other reasons. If you're elderly, and you're having, you already have pre-existing conditions, heart ailment, you have whatever the case may be, and you end up passing away, they're going to label it the bug, and that's how they get their numbers. And the people that are just told it's the bug, the family members just believe it. The doctors are experts; they supposedly know, and we know how inaccurate it is. One thing I'll mention real quick, not to go on too long, is I've seen where people supposedly tested positive, and they're freaking out over this. They get a second opinion, and they say the doctor says you don't have anything. So how is that? How can that be? So, definitely, there's some manipulation with the testing going on, where things, none of this adds up. None of it makes sense. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, two things, Russian vids. One, my boyfriend's mum died of lung cancer a couple of months ago, but
No, sorry to hear that.
she was called a COVID death, but she wasn't, was she? So that's that bit.
No, yeah, they're going to label it. They're going to label it. Again, I want to say this clearly, Karen, and I'm so sorry to hear that with your boy. Yeah, I'm so sorry to hear that, but I'll tell you right now, I actually know someone that's a doctor at a general hospital, and I got to be very careful. I don't want anybody to get in trouble, but he's been, has a master's degree. He knows a lot about health. And even he told me on the down low that this is a lie. Yes, there's people in the hospitals because a lot of people are scared. If they get the sniffles, if they feel a little ill, they're going to run to the hospital because they're freaking out. That's why some of these hospitals were inundated, because any little sign of anything, people are going to, due to the media brainwashing, they're going to rush over there. And under normal circumstances, they wouldn't be there. They just treat themselves. And that's exactly what's happening. But what I'm getting at is this. I asked them, so you're inundated at these hospitals. How many people, not including the very young and the very elderly, how many people do you know passed away from this? He wouldn't answer. I asked him again. He just didn't answer. I asked him a third time. He goes, none. Nobody. No one's. I asked him specifically, anybody between the age of, say, 20 and 55. He goes, none. So
Right.
there you go, So,
Question is, what do you make of what's happening right now? You've got like Queensland in Australia shut down. Last weekend, lots of towns in the north of England shut down. They're picking out all these towns and shutting them down.
Yeah, well, it's they have to make it look legit. They have to make it look real in every phase possible. The most minute things, you go to a store, they're going to have, for example, in the U.S., my local Walmart, they close down all entrances and exits except one. So they want you to have a definite feel like there's something going on. If they had, it makes no sense to close down every entrance and exit. They're singling it down to one. So this change, it's a reminder that we have this bug on the loose. For example, where I'm at, they pick up garbage, but they don't pick up recycling, and they say it's due to the bug. Due to the bug, we're shorthanded, people are sick, and we can't. So they're making these excuses so you feel in your everyday life. So it becomes part of your life where, the recycling, is not being picked up. You go to the store and there's a single line, of
A
course.
lot of things haven't opened up yet, Russian vids. Reopened up. Daycare centres and things like that. Like, they're not open yet.
Yeah, everywhere's a little bit different. Even here in the States, it's depending on each state, each county, things differ a bit. So it all depends. But, it's just like every individual depends too. You go into some stores, even though they have a no mask policy on the door, you see people walking around without a mask, and it's like it's no big deal. And the employees are talking to them. And what I'm getting at, some stores reinforce it, some don't. I've talked to people in different stores, and they're very strict. Some are like very lenient. Like this one employee, this one store, she's like, "What are they going to do about it?" I'm not concerned about this nonsense, and you don't have to.
I haven't been wearing one. Amy, have you been wearing? Amy hasn't. I don't know if Amy's been out that much, but I haven't been wearing one.
No, I don't either, and I haven't been out very much. The few times that I have gone out and it was required, I put the mask down, under my chin or whatever. But no, I refuse to wear one. And got myself in a little trouble when I was on a trip to New Jersey because they were adamant about the masks, and they didn't even want me to leave out of this place without my mask on. And I just said, I am not putting a mask on. I'm exiting your premises, but you have to have your mask, they're telling me. And they were blowing whistles at me and screaming at me. And I just said, you are insane. And I just
Yeah.
ran away. But yeah, I won't wear the mask. If you absolutely have to, I just put it on real fast and then pull it down because I can't breathe in them. But my
Can't
daughter,
breathe in them.
you can't. My daughter, she's the kind of person, she's very strong minded, and she won't wear it even if they tell her. She just says okay, and then she just still doesn't put it on. So yeah, it's just awful.
No, I bet you haven't worn one, have you, Russian Vids?
No, and I would suggest anybody that is told to, and if you have to, and it's essential, and you, for example, you got to go to the store, and you have someone that's maybe a little bit sick under the weather. You need to get a little bit of cough medicine or whatever. All you simply do is get a little razor blade and cut a slit right where the mouth is, and make sure where the mask goes over the nose. Just don't have it over your nose so you can breathe better. So literally, you're not wearing a mask. You're wearing it, but it's not doing anything because you have your nose exposed and you have a slit where the mouth is, and it's so thin that they're not going to see it, and you can still breathe. So that's one way around it.
Yeah.
You
Do you
know,
know something I've been saying to people, Russian Vids, when we've been looking and talking about other things that have happened to us, like something that happened in 2001 in New York, we were always on the hoof. We were always looking at it in the past and then going, that's not real, that's not real. But this thing's happening right now and we're in it. We know it's not. It's a bit bizarre, isn't it?
well, the way I look at it is this: these events, like you mentioned, Karen, that took place in New York, other events throughout the world that I've covered, others have covered as well. They affect specific areas. With this, it affects the whole world, of course. This invisible enemy that nobody can see, that nobody's passing away from. Literally, no one is. They're just labeling it like we know, and people are wearing these paper thin masks that are absolutely no use whatsoever. It's like trying to hold water in a strainer, like one of these colanders. You just pour the water, it's going to go right through. These things don't do anything, absolutely nothing. And what I'm getting at is this: I find it very amazing, and it's a brilliant strategy to have this so-called outbreak where, basically, again, invisible, it affects everybody. So it's the ultimate mind control weapon, where before, a lot of events, like I said, people, affected the general area. People, other areas were not affected by it, but there would be a lot of buzz about it, people talking about it. But this is the ultimate weapon, because it affects everybody, and nothing like this. There's nothing else out there in the
Something else
past.
as well, Russian Vids. They don't seem to have noticed, the public, that they start off telling us that bats gave it to us. Then they told us that it can only survive in cold weather, and now cats can get it.
Yeah, all of it's nonsense, because it literally does not exist.
Yeah, it's just.
I'll tell you right now, where I'm at, it's supposedly one of the highest rates of or people are getting it. And I don't wear a mask. I go out and about. I see people, at the beach, swimming with a mask on. People like a family riding their bike together. They're all wearing masks out in the open. It's just this fake bug is maybe more upset than any other of these other events that happen throughout history. And it's really, to me, very, very frustrating to live in a world full of people that are completely mind controlled by their TV. And this is what I tell people that believe in this nonsense. I tell them, I said, you guys would not know if you're being lied to. You guys never question a thing that's presented on TV. Whatever's presented, you just go along with, and you don't question it for a second. So how do you know how do you know you're being lied to if you never question what's presented? They never give an answer. They never can give an answer to that. And that's That's a huge issue with me. And I said this is something, I got to be careful how I put this, but I put it this way. You know, I'm not going to deal with these ridiculous masks. And we know it's not real, but if it is, and somehow it took me away, I'm like, good. I'm glad to be away from all the zombies of this world that are just, complete begging for enslavement. It's like Germany had a massive demonstration in Berlin, Germany. The news network said, oh, it's like 17 to 20,000 people. I heard reports over 1 million. And while these people in Germany are fighting for their freedom, people in the US, UK, and Australia, they're begging for their enslavement. Please, take away our rights. Please, I'll make a good slave for the system because I'm an obedient citizen, and I'll let my big brother, the government, dictate what I do, what I wear, barricading myself in my home over this nonsense. And that's how I feel. It's like the movie They Live, my avatar with Roddy Piper, where he can see things for what it is and everybody else is just living in the zombie type state.
If it's any consolation, me and Amy are with you.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy, Amy. Amy, I want to thank you for being on board as well. And it's great to hear that you're refusing. You're a very strong woman for that. A lot of people cave in. And I give you a high regards for that. And Karen as well. And everybody else out there listening in that are doing the same. We have to lead by example.
Yes. And I explained to those people, I said, this is not about any kind of a virus. This is about controlling you. The people that were yelling at me about the mask, I said, do your own research, turn off your television and look into it. And I said, you need to check out, there's an agenda, Agenda 21. I said, just do your own research. They were looking at me like I was crazy, but I didn't care.
I'll tell you this, Amy. This is what I tell people. Like if they get upset if you don't wear a mask, I said, look, keep your paranoid to yourself. If you're wearing a mask, you shouldn't worry about me. That mask is to protect you, right? So why are you concerned about me not wearing a mask?
Exactly. That's right.
But definitely the key thing is telling them, keep your paranoid to yourself. Keep your mask on. Be a good little puppet, a little muppet for the government. And, let them control you through fear. I'm not, And,
that's right.
And one thing I tell people all the time.
Well, though, Russian vids, because not one soldier or policeman was used. We shut down overnight the whole world.
Yeah. Well, one thing that was really, there's so many things that don't add up, don't make sense. In China, people are doing face plants, people lying in the streets. Then it comes to supposedly comes to the U.S. None of that's happening.
How did it start in China?
Karen, no one's doing a nosedive and just collapsing out of nowhere. What happened so many times in China is telling you these people are just actors.
They told us that in China, all the bodies were out in the streets and they were welding people into their buildings, and they got the lowest percentage of everybody. How can we have watched that news with all that and they got the lowest percentage?
Well, what I find funny too is, and I show this in videos, I found it very funny how I show this one office building and this one man in a hazmat suit appears, and this is in China, and he goes in the office, he starts spraying this looks like a leaf blower, and it looks like steam's coming out of it, and everybody's sitting in their desk, and everybody's working. I'm like, why wouldn't they just clear out the room first? And why would they spray all these things in this room? It's just for show. It's just literally staged. And I showed that before as well, where they show this gurney being pushed through this hospital, and they're running, and they have a camera crew filming it. Then right when they get to the door, once they pass the door, they all slow down, no sense of urgency. So again, it's so apparent. It's very obvious once you remove your emotions from these nonsense stories to see what's actually happening, and it's very clear that it's just 100% propaganda.
Yes.
Also, you know, like me and Amy were talking last night, you know, the Spanish flu, we think that was put in there on purpose because it's almost identical to what's happening now, but it didn't happen. And when the suffragettes were out in the 1918 and all that, no one mentioned Spanish flu then, and half the world would have disappeared. And also, that would have so affected the economies. They don't talk about Spanish flu, they don't mention it at all.
Well, it's just like SARS, anyone, H1, Ebola, all these, they're all manufactured fear on the public. They do this every 4 or 5 years. And one thing huge I want to mention on the topic of flat Earth, one thing that's very huge, which I've covered back in 2014 or 2015. I forgot exactly which year it was, but it was when Ebola was going down. There was this one doctor here in the U.S. on CBS News, and he said two things. And they're talking about Ebola, and he goes, one thing I want everybody to understand is, Ebola will spread because the Earth is flat, and this Ebola is many viruses to come in the future. There'll be many more viruses to come. So they're giving us predictive programming and truth in plain sight with this doctor. He said the Earth is flat like 2 or 3 times out of nowhere. Wow. He said that this will spread because the Earth is flat. And then he again talked about how there will be major outbreaks. And of course, the Dr. F, I'm not going to say his name, Dr. F here in the U.S., back in 2017, flatly stated, pun intended, that there would be a major surprise outbreak for the next administration to deal with. So
yes.
So this is the thing is they tell us the truth in plain sight, and people still deny it. It's just like when astronauts say during interviews, "Oh, we've never been past low Earth orbit." They said it many times during interviews, and this. Wait a second, that goes against landing on the moon and all this deep space travel. But so what I'm getting at is nothing's hidden in this world. Everything's put out there. And even though people, they're hearing this, they ignore it. They ignore the truth. And, you could point things out and they're just
trigger words that they give people. That's what I think. There's trigger words.
Yeah, it's really, they have society in a complete trance, under complete mind control. They have no idea. And I always say this, the brainwashed don't know they're brainwashed. The programmed don't know they're programmed, even when you tell them. It's people just, again, under complete mind control by their TV. And this is the big thing I tell people. There's 2 realities. There's a reality on TV where people see everything that's happening in this world.
Dallas and Dynasty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's a second reality where we know we're being lied to on a grand scale. So those are the 2 realities, and very few can see the second reality, which is the true reality, and everybody's stuck on the false reality, the first one. Where
it's really strange, Russian vids, because if you get someone doing a video on deepfake and that, it'll say like 1 million people watch it. You tell them that they're doing it to us every day, people just don't get it.
Yeah. Well, again, people, it's like this. The number one thing for me is you can't be concerned about friends, family, peers. If you go on that route, you're worried about that. You're worried about losing people in the process of this truth. Don't get involved with truth, because you're going to end up losing people, because people will fight. People will fight every tooth and nail to make themselves believe that they're beyond being accepting lies. And this is the problem. It's the ego. It's the ego part of people. They think they have a good grasp on things. They don't want to come to the realization my whole life's basically a lie. That means everything I've learned, everything I studied is a lie. And they don't want to believe that. They have too much invested. It's the people that just live their lives, not too heavily invested in the news, not heavily invested in their education. They went to school, but they didn't they realized, look, I'm just going to school. Once I get past and get my degree, I'm going to find a job and live and be happy. Because I don't, it's the people that really like school, really invested into it, spent so much time and effort and energy into it, they're the ones that are the hardest to convince because they're down that path, the point of no return. And if you go to someone's house and you see a tremendous amount of books, like for example, history books, science books on the shelf, you already know these people are going to be very hard to convince they're being lied to. They're already too heavily invested. If you have a Facebook page and you look at a friend that has on their profile that they watch BBC News or CNN, and that's their daily routine, waking up in the morning, having their cup of tea or coffee and watch the news, well, they're getting their daily brainwashing. These people most of them are far gone.
Yeah, there's your zombies for you.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is it's really, you're in an uphill battle with these people, and they're literally going to fight you tooth and nail. And the only thing you can do is two things. Is you're gonna one thing's for sure, they're gonna get really upset and angry because again, they don't want to be told they've been lied to. No one likes to admit they've been lied to or being present with that fact that they're being lied to. The second one is they'll still be angry, but later on they'll realize that you're right, that they have been deceived, but they have to come to it on their own terms. If you push it too much on them, then it's like, wow, I was fooled, I was tricked, I was bamboozled. But if you plant a seed, you let them find out for themselves, they're more likely to come to it. The more you push someone, the more they're going to resist. That's what I've seen with truth. Sometimes just put the seeds out there, tell them, hey, take a look at it. If you want to, if you don't, give them that option. When you force truth on people, I hate to say it, this is the truth,
Yeah, what you've got to do is you've got to start thinking. I mean, I've been looking at, in England, I'm not quite sure what you get in America, but we get OBEs, MBEs, and they go up to KGBs. I just thought that was an accolade. Queen gives it and kind of knights you and stuff. And but actually, they, obviously actors aren't actors, are they? They're obviously military.
Yeah,
This is
they're
them getting an accolade in the system. That they're, if you get to a KGB, you've obviously deceived loads of people.
Yeah, absolutely. And getting back to the education system, with the wearing the gown, wearing the what do you call that on your head, the graduation cap. These are Masonic symbols right in plain sight with the mortar board on top of the head. That represents Freemasonry, the bricklayers of society. And when they put that in your head, that just indicates you've been successfully indoctrinated in a lie system. So all their symbols are in plain sight.
If only they knew what everybody's trusting it and getting their exams. They just don't realise what they've got an exam in.
Well, their exams based on just whatever the textbook says, and you have to go along with the program, and you're rewarded for just answering it the way they want you to answer it, and that's the reality, and just being rewarded for just regurgitation, questioning things. That's what really bothers me, Karen and Amy, and everybody else listening
Yes.
in, is people are rewarded for not thinking. When you have a question and you challenge a teacher, they get very upset. They get very angry. Like, how dare you?
Because we're in a boot camp, aren't we?
Yeah, that's pretty accurate right there. And I think it's healthy to question things. I always question things, and I remember as a child, I asked things, and I remember my teachers being frustrated because I asked all these questions, and a lot of them they couldn't answer. So that's just one thing I remember as a child. They just want to teach out of the textbooks. They don't want to answer the tough questions.
That's right. Exactly.
Yeah. Rushovitz, what do you, lately loads of people have been putting videos together and saying that the UN is the new world order. What do you reckon of that one then?
So again, I'm sorry.
The UN, lots of videos and people are talking about, and there's memes being made. The UN is the new world order.
Oh yes, this is something I've covered tremendously over the years. This is something I've known about for well over a decade that I've covered. Of course, the UN logo itself is the flat Earth model. It has the 33 segments. It's also it's also the WHO's logo, the World Health Organization. And again, I always emphasize the importance of understanding signs and symbols, which is their downfall. They put it in our faces. What's surrounding the UN logo itself is the corona. It's actually a laurel wreath, which is a corona or crown that they have
Have we touched
surrounding.
a new era? This is the new era, the C era.
Yeah, it is. And this is what I want to get into. I'm going to get into the UN, but I want to explain something. Literally when they have these United Nations conferences in New York, and they're speaking about global warming, quote, global warming. And I said it many times. Not only is global warming a lie, the globe's a lie. So you have two lies in one. Another thing too is they have, again, the flat earth model right in plain sight when they're talking about the globe. So this is just, again, mockery. But one thing that needs to be understood, of course, all these countries are working together as one against us. There's no sovereignty. Even going back to the 13 colonies, that was nothing but a big lie. The UK has always been, in charge of the US. This is here in the US. I remember as a child, they always showed Prince Charles, Princess Di. They showed the wedding. I was on every station here in the US. It's like everything in England was a really big deal here in the US, and going back with the Beatles, everything is very, very, they would spotlight England, the UK often.
Yeah.
But getting to the topic
of something, Russian vids, I'm not sure if it's how they tell people, because in England, we think America runs everything.
Well, the thing is, yeah, that's based off the false narrative, that the U.S. broke away from the U.K. Again, when they're all one, they're all one. But the base is definitely the U.K., the Vatican, and D.C. as well. They're a branch of the of the world government. So yeah,
why is the UK so important though? I mean, I know like Greenwich Mean Time starts here and everything. Like England just seems to. I heard this. There's two videos I saw, and Boris was talking about how brilliant England was with all the tech it's got, brown tech, green tech, blue tech, whatever tech it was. And he was going on and on, and he was making a speech at the UN, and I thought, why is he talking about our rights there like that? And then Trump's going, England aren't having it. And I was thinking, what is that? Is Boris coming to take over?
Yeah, that's the funny thing is I really want to get back to the UN and the New World Order. I was getting there, but we'll talk about this since you brought it up. Just remind me, Karen, if I forget. But the bottom line, the importance of the UK, of course, England, they speak English, and it's been spread out throughout it's the international language, and it's and this is getting to the occultic side. It's a very satanic language, like the name God. It's mockery of the creator. It's backwards. It's dog. So God is dog. This is how Satanists work. They work off opposites. Everything they tell us is the opposite. So if they tell us, again, I said it a million times to you, Karen, if they tell us the sun is far and large, it's closer and smaller. If they say this world is very old, it's actually much younger than we're being told. If they say we live in a ball, it's flat. If they say we have no souls, we do have souls. So whatever they're telling us, that we came from monkeys.
It's okay. Amy, we're with Russian vids, aren't we?
That's right. Yes.
Yeah. So thank you. So what I'm getting at is the human mind can't go from A to Z. Once you're told A, the mind can't go to Z. It's too far of a stretch. So if you're told in school that you came from a monkey, you live on a spinning ball, so literally you're a monkey living on a spinning ball, and everybody else believes it must be true. And this is the problem. Well, of course, why they're still monkeys. But getting back to the whole premise of the New World Order, this is something I want to mention. In the U.S., there's been a so-called coin shortage. People are going crazy over coins, and there's been a lot of posting in retail stores. and about coin shortage. They want exact change. They prefer you to pay by credit card, debit card, or exact change only. They don't want to give change back out. They want to keep those coins. What I believe, and this is the thing I want to say, why is there a coin shortage out of nowhere coming up when everybody's barricading themselves in their homes? There's less people going around doing shopping. So how can there be a coin shortage all of a sudden? What I believe is they're going to take away coins first at a certain point, the cash second, and then of course you're going to have your new world order with the cashless society.
Yes, I agree.
Yes,
Yes, it's looking that way, isn't it? But you know that they like to do all these things to frighten us. So they set out an octopus with 100 arms on it, with all different stories, all overlaying and lying, and then we're not sure where we're going right now, because whatever happened with the hospitals, it didn't happen. We didn't do something they wanted us to do. We didn't. Something didn't happen, or it was just it was just a practice. And I'm thinking, just a practice. We've got to go through this all again. Listen, my son told me something very interesting the other day. Russian Vids. He said a lot of companies are paying, for their staff to stay at home, and they've been given those gratis payments, but they run out next month. And he reckons that loads of companies are then going to make thousands of people redundant.
Yeah, well, nothing surprised me what they're going to do, but always expect the unexpected. Always expect new surprises. When all of our attention's in one area, look out. Then something new comes at everyone's looking at the left.
Reason how they do it, they film it months in advance. And that's why none of them up there on those podiums have any feelings in it. They're just blank, because they can't have feelings for something that hasn't happened yet.
Well, of course they know everything is scripted out.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is no secret. There's a massive game being played too with politicians. They come off as kind of dopey, unintelligent. Just take a look at like Boris Johnson, George Bush, Obama. For example, Obama, he talked about how he's visited so many countries during his campaigning years ago. Because I've been to 57 states. I'm going to 58 tomorrow. This is on purpose to make it the right so angry. Like, how can you guys put this man with no experience? He doesn't know, how there's 50 states, and he said so. This is purposely done to outrage the right, and the left are going to support him. Oh, it's not a big deal. Here's a big thing. A lot of people said, "Oh, George Bush is such a stupid man. How can he be president?" No, that's another pitfall that people are falling for. When you look at George Bush, when he was the governor, running for governor of Texas, he was very articulate, didn't stumble over a single word. I mean, he just was a very well-spoken man. All of a sudden, he becomes president. He can't put two words together, stumbling. And this is done on purpose for the left to say, "Oh my goodness, look how dumb this man is." Even someone working at McDonald's will call him stupid. Well, they don't know it's a game being played. Emotions are a great tool to use against society. The divide and conquer, left versus right, of course, is a huge. Even truth right now is a huge thing. Mask versus no mask. People are fighting. People are fist fighting over this. And like Amy said, having issues in the store for not wearing this mask. And here's the thing about the mask. They're only a few pennies each. They're just a little piece of paper that you put over your face. And it kind of reminds me of that song from the British singer Billy Idol. He has a song titled "Eyes Without a Face," and the lyrics, and in eyes without a face. So literally, when you wear a mask, your eyes without a face, and the lyrics go, "I spent so much time believing all the lies. Keep your dreams alive." So they kind of like slip in. They love to slip in truth in movies, music. Like the Simpsons cartoon, the Family Guy, and it's just the world of opposites. And very few have can catch on to this. And again, they don't hide anything; they just put it in the opposite frame of spectrum.
That's right. And with the masks, the boxes even tell you right on there that they don't protect against disease. What the box, if you get your masks from Walmart, the box says right on there, it will not protect against coronavirus, COVID, or any other diseases.
Wow.
And if you buy them from Walgreens, it says basically all they're for is against bacteria. And bacteria is not the same thing as a virus anyway. And then it also
Great point.
says that it would, the main purpose of it is to prevent you from getting, like, if someone were bleeding, that you wouldn't get their blood or any other bodily fluids. But it
Spit.
also says, right, and it says it can protect against diseases. And people have shared those on Facebook, and the fact checkers always mark it as false. And their reasoning is that people are misinterpreting what they're saying in the box. But it's right on the box that it doesn't protect against disease or anything. So I find that very interesting that you can show people. It says right on there that it doesn't protect against disease, only maybe bacteria and against the bodily fluids, and that's about it. And so they're
And you know
telling
where they
you.
lie anyway. We were talking about it the other day. The CEO of YouTube is making a statement about how they monitor the people. They never said they were watching the politics,
Right.
watching the news, watching
That's
anything that had
right.
this influence on us. They weren't watching them, they were just watching the people.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
they're all
Well,
part of one thing, which is a bit annoying, really, isn't it?
yeah.
We need
Yes.
a Russian vids channel, station.
Yes. Yes. It's just really unbelievable. And like you go online and all these like forums like PolitiFact and Fact Check, they'll say it's the box is legitimate, the label's legitimate, but people are misinterpreting it. I mean, it's so
Right.
ridiculous. They're trying to weasel their way out of this. It makes me so angry. What makes me angry is all these people in the media. They're just no good sellouts. Here's the thing: is I really want to point out is people say, well, all these doctors can't be lying. Well, all these doctors, they don't want to lose their jobs. They know they have to be yes people. It's like any kind of politician, any type of person involved in a public service. You have to go with the grain. If you go against the grain, you're not going to get very far. You just have to go along with the program. Like in California, one county is anti closing down certain businesses and having some open. He goes, there's basically no science behind that. It doesn't make any sense. And he's getting major backlash. Someone like that, he's not going to get very far in the political scheme. He's not going to go from county health minister. He's not going to go from county to state because he's not going with the program. So this is the problem with people. They want to move up in the ladder, and it's just be person going along with the program. You're going to go much, much further in this world. And a lot of people know that. They just keep their mouth shut. Just like a teacher.
You know what's really crazy? If we had proper politics, they'd be debating it, and someone would say, these figures don't look right. This isn't right. Not one of them has gone against each other. They've all stuck in.
Right. There was I believe it was a senator from Minnesota that called it out that they were inflating the numbers and making everybody put COVID-19 if someone died. And I think he's also a doctor, and now he's getting all kind of backlash. He called it out pretty early in the whole thing. He brought it to light that, they're requiring you to put COVID-19 as the cause of death. And he questioned it, and he kind of brought it out. And this is a senator. You would think people would take him seriously, but nobody that follows the real mainstream media did. And now I saw that he's being called out, I think, by the American Medical Association or something like that. But
I don't think we've
obviously they,
realised what's been going on. I know Amy won't mind me saying this. I'll just do it very quickly. Russia vids. Amy lost her dad at Christmas he had brain cancer, and they put him through chemotherapy, and
Oh,
it
sorry to hear that.
just
Oh,
it
thank
just
you.
completely twisted his body. He couldn't talk. He was
Right,
incontinent. It just he didn't die of a brain tumor. He died of complications afterwards. But
right. The
they were telling
radiation.
Amy to tell her dad to let go.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
Oh, it
Sorry,
was
so sorry.
awful. Thank you so much. Yes, and the radiation just destroyed his immune system. And so he got every infection that you can imagine. And every one of them, made him a little bit worse. And to the point he wound up bedridden. He couldn't move at all. His leg contracted into this position that we couldn't get it out of. And then when you would take him to the hospital for different things, we would get so many different diagnoses. They would say he's got pneumonia. Oh no, he doesn't have pneumonia. His lungs are a mess. Oh no, his lungs are fine. He has a collapsed lung. Oh no, he doesn't have a collapsed lung. So, like, you can see in the medical system, we learned earlier than most people did through this pandemic. We learned what the medical system is like, and it is awful to negotiate. And they didn't tell us that the radiation was going to do this to our dad. So I said it's the radiation that is what destroyed him.
Which it must have gassed.
Yes,
And not just that, it's like they dehydrated him, didn't they, basically? Or
yes.
that's what they did.
They did. They dehydrated him because he went to this one hospital. He was complaining of chest pains, and the hospital they sent him to was one of the worst in the state. And so they were telling us all different things about him. That's where they said he might have a collapsed lung and all this, which he didn't. But when we went home to get some rest, and when we went back the next day, they told us that he couldn't swallow. Well, we never had any problems with him swallowing, so we didn't know what was going on with that. And then we said, well, can he have a feeding tube? And they said, no, that won't work. And then they sent him home. And then he was so dehydrated that he was just like, we knew something was terribly wrong, and he couldn't really swallow. And so the home health care team said, take him to the hospital for IV fluids. And when we got him there, this doctor came up to me and he said, what I'm going to do, I'm going to put him on a ventilator and then he'll be dead within a couple of hours. And I said, what are you even talking about? I said, we brought him here for IV fluids. I said, what do you mean you're putting him on a ventilator? And that's when the doctor said, well, his lungs are a mess. And then I said, you're not putting my dad on a ventilator. You're going to give him the IV fluids. And then once he's stabilized, we're taking him back home. So they did that, but then found out his lungs were fine. But then this one nurse, she worked for the hospice, and she kind of bullied us into entering him into a hospice program, in home hospice. And we didn't realize, because it was around Christmas and we had been through so much, we didn't realize they wouldn't give him any fluids. And they told us that's a easy way to die of dehydration. They said it's very peaceful, and I thought,
My
well, how
point,
do you
Amy, is
know?
that the whole system is broken, and you had to go through all this,
Yes,
and then we get this thing.
yes, and made us change him to a do not resuscitate. And just and then, like Karen said, were telling me to tell him to die, and I just couldn't do it. It was horrible. I mean, we wanted him to fight, but they're just a culture of death. And I told them that. And I said, look what your radiation treatments have done to my dad. I said, meanwhile, there's alternative cures we could have used, but if I had tried that, I'd have had a SWAT team or something at my house. And I was really told them off. I even called them Nazis. I was so, I said, look what you have done to my dad. I said, this is a crime against humanity. And that was our first, this was the end of December. So we experienced what a culture of death they are. And they start giving him the morphine and all that, which is really what takes the person. And it was just horrible. And then here a couple of months go by, January and February, and then we get this pandemic. And now everybody is kind of seeing what we witnessed with our dad, what this system is like. It's just awful,
Yeah.
absolutely awful.
It's corrupt in every single way. Everywhere you look, there's corruption everywhere. It's about control, and it's just
Yes,
it makes me so angry. What makes me so angry is, all these things. Again, the foundation of it all, that we came from explosion from nothing, and there's no God. So we're going to have to create these vaccines, the pharmaceuticals, all these things to sustain us. When the Creator created everything we need: fruits, vegetables,
that's
nuts, seeds,
right.
grains, everything we need. And I said this before to Karen and everybody else. Amy, I never been in the hospital in my life for anything since birth. I just
Wow.
believe in eating things the most natural form. I don't eat meat. I don't eat
Wow.
fake. I don't eat the fake meat either, because that stuff,
Oh,
they put bad stuff in there too. You eat things the most natural form the Creator created for us. It's not a coincidence. For example, if you Google health benefits of cinnamon, which is from a tree that the Creator created, there's numerous health benefits. How does this happen? Some random chance that you eat an apple or orange, banana has everything you need. For us, this is by design.
that's
It's
right.
very, 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 very basic, very, very clear as well. And people are like, no, they'd rather have their packaged foods that have all chemicals and preservatives, and go to McDonald's and get
That's
their
right.
vaccines, and they don't know. Also, when you go to McDonald's, they have warning labels. Food in this food that's made in this facility are known to cause harmful reproductive effects and cancers, but people ignore it because they love their McDonald's. Here's the thing: it's like rat poison, where it tastes good to the rat, but it kills the rat. But this
Right.
the only difference is McDonald's just kills you slowly. Why? Because obviously the rat, you're dead, and there's nothing you can do with the rat. But with the people, hey, I went to McDonald's. If you die real soon, you can stick it on them. But what happens is it's a slow death. It's a slow
Exactly.
it's a slow death, and you cannot trace it back per se to one thing, but it's everywhere. It's McDonald's, Burger King, your high fructose sodas, your diet sodas with the aspartame. They put poison in the water, so it's everywhere, and it slowly is killing you. So again, drink good, clean water. Eat things in the most natural form, and you're going to do a
Yes.
lot better. And that's me. Like I said, 46, never been in the hospital in my life for anything since birth.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Thank you.
Yes. Well, I asked
Quite
the
proud of that,
doctors.
aren't you, Russian Vids?
What's that, Karen?
I said you're quite proud of that, aren't you, Russian Vids?
I am,
Oh,
because it's another form of. This is the problem, Karen and Amy and everybody else listening in, is a lot of truthers. They will, for example, they'll like know certain events are lies, but then they'll smoke cigarettes, then they'll drink alcohol, then they'll have their diet sodas. You have to have a complete pull away from this system, the foods, the news, the pharmaceutical, everything, every aspect, even the vegan options they give us, the vegan foods they sell in the packages, this fake meat, which they put. So it's like this: if you don't eat our food, our beef that's full of all these all these steroids they inject in the cows, then we'll just put bad stuff in the vegetarian food. We'll put we'll make the fake chicken or beef or pork, but we'll put some poison there. So they'll get you either way. So my thinking is, just don't eat either one. Eat things in the most
right.
natural form.
Yes. Yes, my sister had asked the doctors about nutrition for my dad, and they said, "Oh, don't even worry about that. That has nothing to do with anything." That's exactly what they said.
The doctors don't seem to know what they're doing.
No,
They don't.
That's what we're learning through this pandemic. They don't understand about masks. No wonder people are dying all the time if they've been wearing masks.
right.
The doctors can't breathe properly when they're doing the operations.
Here's the thing is, and this is the best analogy I can give. It's like, a dentist. They're the ones pushing fluoride, which we know is used in rat poison in Germany, and it's in our toothpaste. It's in our drinking water. This fluoride, and they're just going by the CDC. The CDC says it's safe, it's okay, so consume it. I know this one dentist of 25 years who used to push fluoride toothpaste, but after 25 years, he came to the realization that his patients that would come in over the years, the ones that use non-fluoride toothpaste had much better teeth. They didn't have dental fluorosis,
Wow.
which is caused by fluoride toothpaste. So it took him 25 years, but after 25 years, he went from aggressively pushing fluoride to saying no fluoride. And of course, there's a warning label if ingested, called poison control. Non-fluoride toothpaste, there's no warnings. There's no warning label.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So everything's very simple, very basic. If we're following the crowd in any which way, we're going in the wrong direction.
Yes, that's right.
That's the most upsetting thing is we're so far away from where we should be.
Yeah. And like I said, I have friends and they're trying their best. They got hooked into, like, say, smoking cigarettes. They're doing their best to try to stop. And I talk to them and they're trying to, like, they're saying, you're right. They trick you into taking these cigarettes or cigars. You smoke them, they relax you, but it's killing you. How can you be a truther and slowly kill yourself? It doesn't make sense. So yeah, I've known ones that
Right.
are slowly, and I understand it's not easy. But they're doing their best. They're still smoking, but they're cutting back little by little and hopefully trying to get away from it. But literally, they trick people with these commercials that you must be like you're a rugged man or a very sexy female if you smoke cigarettes. That was very big in the 70s and 80s. The good news is there is a decline with cigarette smoking. There is a certain aspect where people are being aware, of course, losing family, losing friends to lung cancer, and they're like, I don't want
Yes.
to die like my aunt or my grandfather from smoking. So people learn the hard way. It's too late. They really lost
That's
loved
right.
ones. Yeah.
Yes. What do you think about vaping Russian vids instead of smoking cigarettes? The vaping.
Yeah, I
'Cause
don't participate in that either.
I don't trust it.
I wouldn't do any of that. I don't think it's natural. I think what's natural is me drinking water, drinking lemon juice, pure lemon juice with water, off of God's created beautiful citrus tree. In the morning, I'll get that lemon, I'll slice it in half, put it in a glass, nice, clean, fresh water. I'll drink that, and it cleans out your system. It's so good for you. It's good for your heart. It's good for your liver, your kidneys. It's like this. Over the years, if you don't clean out your drains, your pipes will get clogged, just like our body. But imagine this: you pour lemon juice every day down those drains, every other day or every 3 times, 4 times a week. Guess what? In 10, 15, 20 years, you're not going to have clogged pipes. They're going to be clean because
Wow.
the acidity from the lemons are going to keep it clean. That's what we need to do with our bodies. And don't
Yes.
refer to the lemons. Just drink it pure with water. And you don't need to do it every day. 3, 4 times a week is good. And just like a
Hmm.
lemon, one lemon, and you're going to feel a lot better. You're not going to have the coughs. You're not going to have issues, with buildup in your lungs. And yeah, that's what I've done. I just, everything to me is very common sense. When you know there's a creator, you're not. This is the thing is, these people that run this world, and
That's right.
the atheists don't understand is, and if you're an atheist truther, if anybody is, you're falling for the same ones, because where they teach in all the textbooks, there's no God. That we came from monkeys.
Right.
There's no creator. So people that say, "Oh, I don't believe in a creator," how can you be a truther and deny the creator of everything that's around us? And obviously, these people are trying to hide God, and they make themselves God.
Yes.
That's their point.
Yes, they're definitely trying to play God for sure.
Like Bill Gates. Bill Gates wants to play God, and they say, "Oh,
Yes.
there's too many people. We need these the V's for this. We need the V put in your
Right.
system."
Well, we're
Yes.
calling it democracy, but it's not, is it?
No,
That's right.
it's 100% scam, and it just infuriates me that people that think they're well informed, but they have no clue just by repeating what they're told. They never process the information. They never question it. So how would they have a clue? There's, oh, this guy's on TV. He wears a lab coat. He's a doctor. He knows, that type of thing. So it's
You start thinking, don't you, when you turn the television off? With it on, you don't think, because it's making you a sheep. You
Yeah.
turn it
they
off,
absorb
getting your own
information.
thoughts.
Yeah, they put people that are very well spoken. They speak very. They sound intelligent. They're very articulate, and they say a lot of words that people can't even don't understand. So the average viewer is like, "Wow, this person's really smart. He must be telling me the truth." So I'm just going to believe him.
I
And
mean, really, television's there to stop us talking, isn't it? Imagine if you were here and Amy was here and I stuck the television on. We're not going to talk to each other. We're going to be looking at the screen.
That's right.
yes, that's why I do own a TV, but I don't watch it. I have it on. Um, I've had it. I have this TV since about 1999, and I probably have it on maybe 10 minutes a week, maybe to check like the latest news story, a big one when it first comes on. Then I look at it online. Sometimes I don't turn it on for weeks, but it's just an antique to me. It's so old. It has a tube in the back. It's one of those. It has the what do you call that? The CRT type. Has a it's old.
Right.
Yes.
They don't even sell these kind of TVs anymore. That's how old it is. And I have no interest in like one time I was out and about with some friends, and I went to get a drink at this establishment, non-alcoholic drink, and just for a social. And some woman walked up to me trying to start a conversation, and she asked me, "Oh, did you watch this show? Oh, it was very funny." I'm like, "I'm sorry, I don't watch TV. I have no idea about it."
Right.
She looked at me, didn't know what to say. She just walked away.
You're the
I
odd
don't.
one out there,
I don't
Russ
watch,
Mids. No, you're not. Loads of people don't watch the television now. It's good.
Right.
yeah.
You're having your own thoughts. You can think for yourself.
Yep.
That's
Here's the
right.
funny thing is talking about TV. Here's something that a lot of people have painted themselves in a corner. I tell people on social media, stop watching TV. You're being brainwashed. And their response is, "Oh, I don't watch TV." I'm like, "Oh yeah, then what do you know about the bug? And why do you follow the bug? Because you learned it from TV." And I guarantee you, if you put a hidden camera in their house, there they are watching the telly, watching the TV. There they are, these liars. Of course they're lying when they say they don't watch TV. It's about ego. And the funny thing is, if they claim they don't watch TV, again, where they're getting their information from the internet, the same place they always ridicule as disinformation.
Right.
I quite like your. I think it was you talking on one of the hangouts, because what it was is I think someone was trying to ask you, well, what would you vote for? Are you a Republican or a Democrat and all that? And I think it was you, Russian, because you were going, I don't follow them, so I don't have an opinion.
I've been asked that before, and I tell them, I said none of the above. I said if you're playing the left or right, you're being played. So don't play either one. It's just like the school in the northeast part of the U.S. Was it the child that did it, or was it the man with the camouflage pants in the forest? It was none of the above. They're giving you options, and both options are incorrect. So it's that very simple.
Anyway, we
it's
work out that these people who are being actors are playing royal family members, they're playing other people. How can we trust? We don't even know what we're looking at.
yeah. Well, that's the big thing. Like I said before, there's many layers to the deception. Many layers. Where it's they do this on purpose. They make the lies go so deep. Here's something like, for example, just like flat Earth. They always make fun of people that believe in the flat Earth because they put a very bad stigma to keep you away from the truth. They always make fun of people that believe, oh, you think Elvis is still alive. They put a bad stigma on that to keep you away from that. You know what's funny about Elvis? His very last song he ever sung wasn't the most popular, but the last song he ever sung was in 1977, and the lyrics, with him smiling, he says, someone once said, all the world's a stage. And he's smiling while he's singing these lyrics. And it is. He's telling the truth. This is his last song. But here's the funny thing is, they said that Elvis, the king, Elvis, they said he died on the crown, the corona. You understand, right? They said he died in the toilet. That's the that's the crown. That's the corona. They're mocking people. The king died on the crown.
Do you know what? I already knew it was like it, but I just did Michael Jackson and Dave. It's just ridiculous what they're doing to us. We all need to wake up.
Well, I want to talk about that for a second, Karen. I'm going to tell you something because I made a video about Michael Jackson in one music video where he's disguised as an overweight white man.
Yeah.
Remember that? Well, here's how big the deception goes. Michael Jackson wearing a disguise with another disguise over that disguise.
Oh, wow.
You mean he was disguised? And then they disguised him again?
If you know he's Dave Dave, then the Michael Jackson is fake. And then his look is fake. Then you throw on the white man costume, or not costume, but the mask and all that. So you have two on top of each other, covering Dave Dave. So if that Dave Dave is actually true, which a lot of people believe it's him, and of course that's mockery. Putting.
I did say to Amy, I said when he's supposed to have been 8 in the 80s, so he was born in the 70s, late 70s. And when you're looking at him, I'm saying to Amy, does he look like a sort of, this is when they were filming it in 2009, does he look like a 30-year-old man there? It just looks, because it's Michael Jackson.
Nothing ever adds up what they say. Listen, when I saw his dad talk about, Michael Jackson, no tears, no sadness. It was just another day. And people say, "Oh, he's just cold hearted." No, it's just it's not real, and they're not very good actors. It's just like when David Bowie appeared on TV as Jack Stephen on Sky News. They put a supposed dead man right in front of you. They love to mock. They like to put JFK back on TV after his fake assassination. Years later, there he is on TV.
Who was he then?
What's that?
Who did he play afterwards then?
No, what happened? You're talking about JFK. JFK just appeared briefly. There's, of course, really Jimmy Carter. But at one point, during one speech or a few speeches late in the presidency, they had a man show up. It was supposed to be Jimmy Carter. And he showed up with a different hair part. And they asked him, why is your hair parted on the different side? And he goes, you want to answer? I don't have one for you. And it was on Newsweek. And they said something have to do about symbolism. Like the left is, liberals. The right is Republicans, and they made a joke about it. Maybe I'll part my hair in the middle. I'll be, neither one. But what I'm getting at is Jimmy Carter, people get confused. Oh, they say Jimmy Carter and JFK are the same person. No, absolutely not. They're two different people. But I can show you the photo from Newsweek of them side by side. They're not the same person. People are not going to, even truthers are not going to get it. It's too crazy. But literally, all they do is it's like this too. It's like human cloning. There's no real cloning of like they don't get like
It's computer programs.
well let me finish. It's like this, like Eminem. They say there's doubles of Eminem. No, they just use lookalikes. Madonna admitted she has 3 lookalikes for security reasons. They're not. There's no proof of some cloning factory where they can take someone like Eminem and just make a duplicate. They want you people to believe they have this technology. Only God, only way cloning works with people or animals is through birth. But they want to make us believe they have the know-how to clone. Say, for example, a 35-year-old man that could produce another one in some factory. It can't happen. It has to be done through birth, and they're not going to be the same age. And this is by the Creator's intent, that He wants us all individuals. He doesn't want to have 50 identical of one person. Everybody looks different. Everybody has different fingerprints, different eye retina. It's to separate each of us. We're all individuals. So this is clearly designed by the Maker. And anybody that's a truther that denies God, to me, they're not a truther to me. They're deceived. They're just, to me, they might as well be watching CNN and Fox News. If you're going to believe in evolution, you're a truther. You're deceived. You're completely lost. You're still stuck in a lie system.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Thanks, Amy.
And yes, and I always wondered, everybody does look different. There's some people that resemble each other, but basically, if you're in a crowd of people, every single person has something different. And we're just not identical or anything.
It's
That
just
always
amazing to me,
amazed
Amy.
me.
It's amazing to me. There's literally billions of people in this world. If you walk past, if you look at every single face, if you could look at billions of faces, everyone is amazingly different.
Yes.
Amazingly different. And that's because that's the Creator made it that way. This is
What
not.
about this,
Right.
Russian kids? Do you know who Ellen DeGeneres is?
Oh, of course, that short hair. She looks very masculine. Yes, of
Yeah,
course.
her. Can I just say, Amy, your microphone's making a noise.
Oh, okay.
Sorry,
Yeah,
I've yeah.
I'll fix
Sorry,
it.
Amy. What it was is someone asked me to go to a site, and basically, Ellen DeGeneres is more related to the royal family and everybody in America. She's related to like Churchill, Boris, Sarah Ferguson, Kate Middleton, the Queen. She's related to like John Wayne. She's related to Lucille Ball. She's related to so many people. She's more royal than our Queen.
Well, just like Tom Hanks, that one singer, I forgot her name in Canada. What was her name again? The very famous one in Canada.
Oh,
All dark haired. She has one name. I think she has.
Celine Dion.
Yeah, that's it. Celine Dion. That's it. Yeah, she's another one part of the bloodline. Brad Pitt. They're all like in the bloodline. And
yeah, Brad Pitt is Ellen DeGeneres' 19th cousin.
Just like Trump and Hillary Clinton related, they admitted that. Even Barack Obama and Dick Cheney,
Oh yeah, Ellen's related to him as well.
Yeah, they're all these big names, and they love like even like the people not in the bloodline. They love to promote like certain names. They like to plan names like Jimmy Fallon, like he's a fallen one. Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Turn Sideways, you have your 33. They love planned names with a lot of characters on the world stage, like the inventor of the space telescope. His name is Lyman. He's a Lyman Spitzer. And they created this, supposedly, of course, it's not a real space telescope called the Spitzer telescope. He was a Skull and Bones Freemason. He went to Princeton. After 33 years, he was. They put him in a position of power. All these things. So, they love a plan names. They're psychopaths. I say it all the time. Where, they don't care about money. They care about control. Money is just used as a weapon of manipulation where like a bunch of greedy peasants are fighting over money, where they're laughing over something they invented. It's just paper. You can burn it. It's worthless. But in society, of course, it means everything. To them, they print the money. I mean, it's not about money to them. It's about control and manipulation. So that's what people really need to understand. They need to get.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think it's really bad. I just can't believe they've done it in a way. I mean, I know that I do know they've done it because I do break videos down all the time. But I still think sometimes, why? How? Who thought this up?
Right.
Horrible.
Yeah, it's a crazy world. This
Yes.
world is nothing what it seems, and very few can see through the lies. They've just been blinded, like the song goes, "Blinded by science."
You have to remain open,
Yes.
don't you? That's what you have to do because you don't know everything. And, I've heard you talk loads of times, but when I broke the videos down, I couldn't believe it. I kept saying, Russian Vince, he's right. He's
That's
definitely
Well,
right.
I get frustrated. I get frustrated over this because doing this as long as I have, a lot of people that were involved with truth. I was around before them, and they show up and said I was wrong about this. I was wrong about that. Russian Viz thinks all these celebrities, their passing aways are hoaxes. He thinks everything in the news is fake. These. And then later on, what happens is this: they realize I'm right, but they never come back and apologize. They just start making the same content I do, and they never say they're sorry. They never say they're sorry for saying, "Oh, Russian Vids, I called him crazy because he said the world's a stage," and he said, I said things like this, years and years ago before anybody. These celebrities don't die in threes. Remember the old saying, "Oh, two celebrities die. We know a third one's going to happen." I said this. I said they don't die in threes. They're hoaxed in threes. This is a ritualistic Masonic deception. They love to doom in threes. And people didn't get it. They said, "Oh, Russian Viz thinks no one dies." I'm like, no, people die, but this is like a world stage. It's just like a movie where you watch your favorite TV program. Maybe an actor dies in the movie. He
Yeah,
lives
I've
on.
been telling this to Amy. This is what I've been
Yes.
saying to her. Like we're in the program.
Well, that's the thing
Yes.
is if it's on TV, it's like this. I tell this to people. If it's on TV, you don't have to look for hoax news stories. If it's covered 24/7, it's their creation. For
Right.
example, a plane crash. They happen. The ones that get covered for an hour and the story disappears, it's real. The ones that go on for days and days, like living in California near San Francisco airport, where they had this supposed plane crash. They hauled it away. The bottom of the plane's in perfect condition. They said the pilot's name was Bang Ding Ao, Holy F. They have these funny names for these Asian pilots. They're racist names. They try to be funny with it, but they're mocking. And they say, "Oh, they're interns." They gave the newscasters fake names. No, they're just plain. People don't understand it. They say Russian is, why would they fake a plane crash? I'm like, you don't understand. These people are psychopaths, and there's an agenda behind it. What happened after that? Many, many fake plane crash incidences. So, what I'm getting at, it's a long journey to truth. But a lot of these people that got involved with truth, they got involved later, so they didn't catch on to a lot of things I said. Like one thing I always mention is there was this one round table with truthers. After I've been at this for a long time, they got involved with truth, and they had their own round table, and they would discuss events like I got to be careful how I put this with these so-called shooting events, and they called them real. But was it done by the government or was it done by a crazy man? It was never where Rush Limbaugh said these are hoaxes, that the spotlight for control, for fear, out of fear for control. They would write me out and say, "Oh, Rush Limbaugh thinks it's all fake. We can't even talk to this guy because he thinks everything is fake." So they would go on discuss and say, "Yeah, the government, they're behind it and they killed people." Or was it a crazy man? Again, never hoax is part of the equation. So that now those same people realize what I said was true. But they never apologize. They never say, you know what, Russians, we're sorry for calling you crazy, man. But they realize that these are hoaxes they're pulling off.
Well, I've told you
Right.
you're right. And, you know, through my own research, there's so many things that you said, or I've caught you saying after I found my information. We need to, and you know what? It's hard for all the people to trust each other because of the things they're doing.
Well, the thing is this, there's a disinfo, intentional and unintentional. We're human. We all can make mistakes. But over the years of doing this, I narrow down my mistakes. I keep them to a minimum. You know, no one's beyond correction. Nobody's perfect. But I put it this way to anybody that's listening in. I don't claim to be perfect. I just know this. We're being lied to on a grand scale. We're trying to figure things out, you know, and I could be a little bit
Because
off
it's not
here.
just one thing, is it? It's not like we can say,
Yeah, Karen,
it's education or
I was
something.
just trying to finish the point, though, Karen. One thing I just want to say real quick is the foundation I know I'm right about. It's a lie. Every little detail I could be off my minute details, but I know the story's a lie. I know they're not killing people in their operations. They don't do that. So again, they have the mainstream media believing, you know, these people die. And now the so-called conspiracy theorists think, oh, the government killed these people. And it's not what we're told, but the government killed. No, this is why both sides are deceived. And I tell them it's a hoax. This is the grand illusion where the psychopaths love this, having you cry, being in complete fear over something that's not even existent, not real. That's the power. They are like magicians that control this world.
Yes, and it's awful because it gets people all emotional and upset about everything, and it's not even true, and people get really upset about these things. I just think it's so evil to do it to the people.
I did it on one of those NASA videos, you know, when one of the astronauts is paused and the other one's moving around, and I said, this takes your freedom away because it's not real. Making you believe something that's not real.
That's
Takes your
right.
freedom away.
Yeah, exactly. Karen, how much longer are we going to go on? We've been going on for about an hour and a half already.
That's okay. Well, we've gone on long enough. Did you want to say anything more about the UN? You said come back to that.
Yeah, the UN, the whole thing about the UN. They told us years ago. We remember the whole entire 9/11 speech, September 11th, 1991, with George Bush. He said, basically, we're going to have a new world order, and it's going to be headed by the UN, a credible UN. So literally, it's predictive programming. We don't know the date, but we know it's coming. You know, we know it's coming. And one thing I think they're going to do, and I'm going to do a video about it again, is I think they're going to use still going to use a fake alien invasion to try to unite the world. How we have to come together as a world to fight off this foreign enemy. You know, that's coming at a certain point, I believe. Here's the thing is, I want to make it perfectly clear. I haven't seen their script, but I've seen the predictive programming, things like the Golden Gate Bridge. That could be an event happening. I've seen a lot of that happening in movies with the Golden Gate Bridge being destroyed. That's a possibility. But we don't know, like I said. But the main thing is this. All these things they're doing, they're pushing us in a certain direction with all these fabrications. It's like trapping a bunch of animals in a corner and then they slaughter them. Using manipulation to push them in the corner. That's what I think is highly possible what they're doing. I don't think everything's will be a hoax at the end. I think the hoaxes are to put us in position, and then they're going to do something very real. I believe. I don't claim this as fact. This is one thing I stay away from. I stay away from on-date predictions because I don't have a crystal ball. I have no idea what they're going to do next. All I do know is that it's a staged event.
We have to be alarmed, don't we, Russian vids, when the trees have fire on the inside, not the outside.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. But the bottom line is just know our past is fabricated, our current time is fabricated, and our future is fabricated. It's all scripted to play out this way.
Yes.
I agree with you on that one after
Me
what we've done.
too.
Yes, yes. Yeah, I think we had a very good conversation. I think we hit on a lot of points.
We'll just tell you,
And I-
though, that Nancy Pelosi, Trump, and the whole lot, they have numbers on their necks.
yeah, I remember the video. But one thing I want to tell you, Karen, I think is very good is to not have the live streams too long. Have them long, but not too long, because when they're too long, people are like, "Oh, it's too long," and I'm not going to watch. But I think hour and a half is good, because people. I think this is the important thing, and of course, this won't be aired. I think it's so important. This is why I've been successful in on my channels over the years. I've been very successful. I get right to the point. I don't waste time. I get straight to the information, and I think that's key. I listen to podcasts where there's a whole lot of nothing happening. People are just getting on a live stream, they talk, and it's a bunch of fluff to kill time. And I really believe that if I'm going to do a live stream, it has to be impactful. The information must be concise. There could be a little conversation as well, but I think it's very important to really be impactful. And if it needs, if you're gonna, it's not good to put an hour and a half information into 4 hours. I'd rather put it all in, condense it, and make
Loads of
every
people
second count.
listening to you, though, Russian Vids, when you're on. When I was talking to you one day, how many people were in your chat room? It was thousands, wasn't it?
Yeah, one time I had about 1,700 people listening live.
Wow.
Yeah, that's before my channel was shut down. I had 1,700 live listeners at one time. Here's the thing: is I have a new channel. It's RV Truth. I have to be careful using my other name because it's going to be obvious, and they could take it down. So this will be left off the record. But I'm not going by Russian Vids anymore. I'm going by RV Truth, because when I go by Russian Vids, currently, I can do it later, but currently they're shutting me down for having Russian Vids. So it's harder for people to find me. I only have 1,600 subscribers. I'm used to having, 80,000, 70,000 before I get shut down. But what I'm getting at is it's harder for YouTube to know. It's harder for people to find me, but I'd rather have it harder for people to find me than keep creating channels under Russian Vids and shutting me down. I'm going to wait another maybe 5-6 months before I start another Russian Vids account, because what happened was after I shut down, I started another Russian Vids. They shut it down immediately. They know who I am. Here's the thing is, when I talk about, this is off the record, when I talk about COVID or anything in these effects, George Floyd, they shut me down, while other people can talk about it and get away with it. But they're definitely onto me. They've been onto me for many years. I've been covering the mainstream media from ABC Australia to Daily Mail UK.
Yeah. Tell Amy what happened to you. I know we won't go on for too much longer, but tell Amy what happened to you there, Russian Vids, when you went on the television.
Yeah, I was on Greek TV. Yeah, I've been on Greek TV many, many times. Also, I should talk about on Australian TV, ABC News in Australia, when I called, this is in a live stream years ago, I called, because people were thinking events were real, like shooting events are real, people are really killing people. And
Right.
I would say, no, that's not true. I said, all these shootings are hoaxes. And ABC Australia listened to my podcast live stream, and they took that out and they put it in their video. They put it in it was a video about the Sandy Hook parents, a documentary, and they put my voice in there without my permission.
Wow.
Yeah, they took my voice without my permission, and they shouldn't be allowed to do that. I guess it's
That's
fair
right.
use. I don't know.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
And then you woke up and they'd done something to your channel, hadn't they?
Yeah, they shut it down, and
Oh.
they shut down my channel after I predicted and exposed the fake London bombing back in 2017. And and of course, what happens too is I run into a lot of issues. As my channels grow, I put a lot of truth. Then I have government agents attacking me, putting out my address, family, making threats, those kind of things. So it's It's not easy doing what I do.
I know.
Yeah.
But it's awesome that you do it. That's great. We need the truth.
Thanks, Amy. I
So
appreciate
thank
that.
you for doing that.
Yeah.
Thank
Thanks, Amy. It's
you.
great talking to you. I really
Great
enjoyed.
talking to
I'm glad you
you.
joined in. I didn't know you were going to join in,
Yeah, all
but
right.
I want to thank you, Amy, for what you're doing too, not wearing the mask and standing up to these
No.
people. Don't let them bully you. And I'm sorry about the passing as well with the radiation treatment.
Oh,
That's
oh,
horrible.
thank you. I really appreciate it. Yes.
You're very welcome.
Oh,
Well, we very much
yes.
appreciate you spending this time with us, Russian Vids. I've been hassling you for a
Yes.
while, haven't I, Russian Vids?
You finally got me. The old saying goes, persistence breaks resistance, and you got what you wanted, Karen. And I'm very glad we did this. It was a fantastic a live stream and or I should say recording, whatever you want to call it. But thanks so much for having me on, Karen, Amy, and everybody else that'll be listening. It's been a fantastic conversation, a conversation of truth, and it's so very important that we keep doing what we're doing and waking up people little by little, one by one. But people will understand what we're saying right now. There will be people out there saying, "Oh, we're crazy, we lost our minds." But no, we live in a crazy world. People don't want to go there because they don't want their false reality destroyed.
Exactly.
I think it's really crazy. You know, like when you try to explain to people what we're living on, when they're living in something where they're told that we're going anti-clockwise with the moon at 1,000 miles an hour with the equator, and then we're going in two different directions with the sun and the universe. And when you add the speed up, we get to Mach 80. I'm just like, well, I'm not mad. I'm sorry. If you think that that's what
Right.
we're living in, we can't even survive Mach 1, let alone Mach 80, and
You
not
know,
feel it.
you know what kills me is when they tell us like what's in the center of the ball of the earth when no one's ever been there. That the furthest ever drilled down was 8 miles. But due to science, these scientists and experts could tell us what's supposed in the middle of the so-called ball Earth. They could tell us what the sun is made of, helium and hydrogen, but there's no way to verify. I tell people you need to cross-verify. For example, there are devices that can detect the bottom of the ocean and fish in the water, but we can cross-verify by going there physically, going there and verifying what they're saying. There's no way to verify. We just have to take their word,
Yeah,
and I don't
Russian
believe it.
vids. I watched one of those. They went through all the layers and they went down, and basically, in the middle of Earth, there's these two great big bits of lava flinging around, and that helps us. It's like,
They hit water, Karen. That's what happened when they drilled down too deep. They hit water.
yeah, that's what the
Wow.
Russians said. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, Russian vids, I want to say goodbye to you off air, but we'll finish on air. I very appreciate you talking. It's good to obviously hear what you've got to say, even though we know that, well, yeah, what do we call you? In the globe world, you're a rebel.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that. I never, succumb to peer pressure, group think. I always did my own thing, and I'm proud of that, of
Yeah.
not falling for intimidation, bullies, making you believe what they want you to believe. No, I'm not one to be mind controlled.
No,
Excellent.
you're quite an independent person, aren't you, Russian vids?
Yes, and the thing is this, one thing I'll say is do not be needy of other people. You have to be strong, stand alone. People are very needy of each other, and I understand. All of us can be that way, and to a certain extent. But when it comes to things of this nature, we got to be very strong. And I wasn't afraid, even if I had everybody gets me, even my own channel. If I said something I knew was true through my research, I would say it. Because later on, they would figure it out. I'd figure it out first and doing the groundbreaking work, not waiting for someone to put the information out. I put the information out. So I'm just a natural leader in that realm of truth. I'm not looking for people to find stuff. I go out and find it myself. I always been that way.
Very quickly before you go, did you notice that, I don't know, we've been sold off to other space agencies? One is Elon Musk.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is they say, due to budgetary concerns, we have to, outsource private to Russia, but it's just part of the big scam. Because the more pieces you have together, it must be legit. You have NASA going into space prior, now you have with independently with Elon Musk, with Russia, China's doing their own launches, Japan, but it's all world's a stage, and they're all working together to fool the masses, of course.
Yes, they're all working together.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you so much, Russian Vid. Amy, chat room. Thank you, everybody.
Oh,
Thank you, and take care, everyone.
Don't go. We'll
Yes.
say goodbye to you off air, Russian Vids. But anyway, thank you very much.
You're very